So let's get started. You're going to need a wide tooth comb and a parting comb or rat tail comb. You're also going to need some oil to nourish your hair. Today I'm using coconut oil. You're going to need a spray bottle with some water. And you're also going to need some sort of styling gel. So first I'm going to spritz my hair with the water, and then I'm going to further detangle my hair with the wide tooth comb. And my hair is freshly washed and dried. I don't blow dry my hair. I don't put heat on my hair, so my hair has been air dried. So let's go ahead and nourish the hair. I'm going to take some of that coconut oil into my hands, and I'm going to kind of saturate my hair with the oil, paying attention to make sure that I am saturating the ends. This is a protective style, and so you do want your hair to be nourished. I'm going to run some of that oil onto my scalp and then just begin to massage that in. For a little hold, since I am going to lay some anchor braids for this style, I'm using the Lotta Body, the coconut to shape me custard gel, and I'm just taking that around the perimeter of my head and just kind of working that in so that the braids that I put in will be secure and I won't have a lot of frizz. And I'm taking that wide tooth comb and just combing that through the hair. Taking the rat tail comb, we're going to part from ear to ear. So we're going to separate the front of the hair from the back, and we're going to prepare to lay some Y braids in the front. So just parting from ear to ear. Don't worry if your part is not straight. You're going to braid your hair, so it's all going to be covered up. So don't stress about crooked parts. So I'm taking a scrunchie, or you can use any kind of hair clip, to separate the back portion from the front. And then I'm going to take that water bottle and again spritz the front of the hair with some water, taking the wide tooth comb, going to go ahead and further detangle the front portion because I want to make sure this is completely detangled before I start to lay down these anchor braids. Taking the parting comb, I'm going to separate out a small section on the side, and I'm going to just put a braid in just to keep that separate from the middle because the Y braids are only going to be in the middle. And so I'm going to do this on both sides. So again, parting out a small section and just braiding it to separate it from the middle portion. So now we're going to go ahead and begin to start laying these anchor braids. So these braids aren't going to be very large. They shouldn't be teeny tiny, but they should not be large either. So maybe a medium-sized braid, I guess. And you're just going to braid from front to the end of the front section that's already been parted. And we are doing Y braids, and the reason we're doing Y braids for the middle is so that we have some versatility in how we can wear the style, and you're not braiding all the way to the end. So to make the Y braid, you're going to connect two braids. So you lay the first braid, I'm laying the second braid, and then I'll slow it down a bit in a moment so that you can see. Then I'm going to pull in that second braid, pulling in the first braid into the second braid and connecting those braids, and that's what makes the Y. So we're making two braids into one braid. And again, we're not going to braid all the way down to the ends, maybe about a quarter of the way. Now we have our 3 Y braids in the middle, and so we're ready to lay the rest of our foundation braids. So now I'm going to part out a braid that's going to go from the lower, this is the lower right side of my head. So it's going to go from the lower right side, and I'm going to part all the way around to the back. And the reason that I'm doing this is so that I can lay some locks on the bottom. So if I was to lift my hair up into a ponytail, you don't see like parted braids. It looks more seamless. Don't worry about, again, crooked parts. Don't worry about the thickness of this. I know this looks kind of thick back here, but my hair is pretty fine. So when you see the braid, you'll see that it's not as thick of a braid as this parted section appears. It's important to note that I stopped the parting section right at my left ear. So right when I got behind my left ear is where I stopped parting. So that braid is going to stop at my ear. So it's not going all the way around my head. I'm just taking a scrunchie and parting out taking a scrunchie and separating the top portion. And then I'm going to comb this out. Again, just making sure that this is completely detangled. And then we're going to go ahead and lay this braid. And we are going to braid this braid all the way down to the ends. So now I've laid much of the braids. And so now I'm going to show you how we're going to complete this Y braid. We're going to kind of pick up where we left off, and then how we're going to connect the bottom braid. So going back to the top of the Y braid, separating out those three parts where we left off, and just continuing to braid all the way back. And remember, the Y braid is two braids that connect and make one braid. So now in the back section, as we're continuing to braid down, we're going to take the previous braid. So just make sure that you're not grabbing any excess hair. We're going to take the previous braid and pull it upwards into the braid that we're currently braiding and continue to braid down. I prefer this method as opposed to connecting the braid at the bottom, because this, in my opinion, better secures the braids, and you don't have to worry about braids coming loose. All the braids have now been laid. Our anchor braids are complete, and we have these two tails that we need to address. So what we're going to do is we are going to crochet these tails into our anchor braids, and I like to do this as opposed to sewing down the tails. So you're gonna measure about half the length of the braid. So whatever braid that is that's half length, you're going to just crochet up that braid. So the latch hook goes underneath the braid with the latch open. Loop the hair onto the latch, so onto the hook. Make sure that your latch hook is out farther enough. Close the latch and then just pull it through. And we're going to continue that going all the way up the braid until that tail is completely secure. And you're going to follow the same process with the other tail, just into a different braid. For this install, we're using the Freetress Boho Hippie Locs, and this is in the color 1B, and it's 20 inches in length, and this is what it looks like outside of the pack. Now this is different than Goddess Locs because each lock has 3 different curl patterns that extend from the lock, and so this is what the pre-loop section looks like at the top of the locks. So we're going to start with this bottom braid here, and we're going to insert the latch hook with the latch open. We're going to take the lock, secure the loop onto the hook, close the latch, and pull it through. And you're going to keep that loop on the latch hook. And then now you're going to grab the loose curls towards the bottom of the lock, secure them onto the hook, close the latch, and pull it through the loop. So it's really important that as you do this, you keep that loop on your latch hook, because if it slips, then you're going to have to, try to get the hook back on the latch, and it can be a little frustrating if it slips. But here, let's do another one. So latch hook on, the loop goes onto the hook, close the latch, feel down where those 3 strands meet. You're going to make that loop on your finger, loop the hair onto the hook, close the latch, and pull it through the locks loop. And I have this spaced out a little bit because we're going to add some highlight color. And this is just the process that you're going to follow across your entire head. So you're going to go through each braid and you're just going to secure the locks all over the braids. So for this part here, I'm just going to show you how I add the locks to the bottom of the braids that have been pulled into other braids. So you're just going to insert the latch hook downward into that loop that's formed, and you're going to secure your lock onto that loop. And I love to do that particularly in that section because it does give you like good hang. The locks just hang so beautifully. They're positioned well there. So you want to make sure that you do add locks to those sections. And just securing it onto the braid. Now I'm showing you how I attach the locks in those Y braid sections. So we're doing the exact same thing that we did in the back, making sure to leave some space between the braids again because we are going to add some highlight color. And we're just securing our knots onto these braids. All the locks have been installed and we're ready to add our highlight color, and we're using the Freetress Gogo Curl in shade 30. And this hair is really silky, so I like to wet it so that it's easier to separate. And so I've separated a small section of the hair, and I'm going to separate this section into multiple sections because these highlight pieces are thin pieces that we're adding. We're not going to add these too thick. One, because again, this hair is silky and those knots will slip very easily. And two, because it's just highlight, so we don't want it to be too thick. Now let's install the highlights. So we're following the same process, putting the hair onto the loop, closing the latch, pulling it through. And then for a moment, it's been a while since I've done this, so I almost kind of forgot what the steps are. But we're gonna go ahead and open the loop that's on the latch, and we're gonna pull the hair through the loop, and we're gonna, loop this 3 to 4 times because again, this hair is thin. And we want this to be secure. So you want to loop this 3 to 4 times and then secure the knot onto the braid. Now this hair is not pre-looped. So what you have to do to create your loop is you're going to take the hair. So after I put the latch through the braid, I'm going to take the hair and I'm going to kind of hold the center of the hair so I get the 2 ends dangling on both sides of my finger. And that's how I create the loop. So going under that loop, putting it onto the hook, closing the latch, pulling it through the hair, and then looping through 3 to 4 times to secure that knot. And we're just going to do this through the remainder of the head in all of those spaces where we left room between the locks. Now what you can also do if you don't want to add the highlight color, if you have any remaining hair, you can fill in those gaps, with the rest of your locks. I used a total of 4 packs of the locks and 1 pack of the highlight hair, and this is how she looks when it's all finished. I love this hair. It's so versatile. You can pull it up, you can just really manipulate and move the hair as you like. Because we did the Y braids, I'm able to wear it parted on different sides, so I can do a deep side part, I can do a middle part, whatever I want to do. The possibilities are endless. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed this video. Give it a thumbs up if you did. Leave me some comments. Let me know what you guys thought. Again, thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.